Look who's joined us in the studio. Only came in for a car sticker, and he's here now. Eddie, do I call you Eddie? Do I call you Suzy?
You can call me Eddie. You can call me. See, you just ran through the gamut, which is perfect. I've added Suzy to my name, so it's Suzy Eddie, not with a hyphen, not like Anne Marie or something, but it's Suzy or Eddie, and you can choose. Preferring Suzy, don't mind Eddie. Prefer she, her, don't mind he, him. No one can make a mistake. I just realise when I get...
So the reason the Eddie thing kind of sticks, because you are the man that taught me the French for there's a monkey in the tree.
Right.
So, and I can't get that out of my head. So, you know, that to me follows me around. I've told that story twice today.
Well, it's interesting because
trying to do your comedy justice, which is a fool's errand.
Well,
frankly.
you may remember that I initially started off saying that there's two versions of it. One which is le singe est dans l'arbre, and then my French teacher got in touch with me saying the actual French teacher who taught me that line.
Really?
No, it's le singe est sur la branche, because dans l'arbre means inside
the tree, of course.
And unless it's a very enterprising monkey that's saying, well, I've just knocked through into the thing and he's going to talk 2 days. It's a bit of a
which is possible, of course.
Yes, it is possible.
And because you ended up doing stand-up in French and in German, is that right?
And German and Spanish, and improvised.
Spanish as well?
Yes,
yes. How do you do that? I mean,
well, you think about it, anything. How did you get to being here? You just decided you wanted it, and you pushed and pushed and pushed, and it's the decision in the head. And I said, why don't I do? Because I'm very, you know, there's been this discussion over some time over Europe and you know the Brexit experiment and all that kind of thing. So I decided, as I was positive, why don't I put my money where my mouth is? I want to do gigs in French. I'll do it in German. I'll do it in Spanish. I want to do Arabic and Russian as well. I just want to make connections rather than break them. So
but the reason I ask is not because, obviously you can learn the language, but when you're doing stand-up, it's about nuance. It's about kind of casual terminology. It's
you lose some nuance, but you know if you're doing sacrifice humain. If you're talking about human sacrifice, which is a crazy thing, almost the only thing in humanity that we've
it's
actually
already
got,
funny, just the phrase.
We've almost got rid of. We've all got rid of it.
Yeah.
Even Trump, it's not on his list. Maybe it's third or fourth on his list, but he's not going for human sacrifice as his next political thing. So it's one thing that we've got rid of. So if you talk about it in Ulaanbaatar, if you talk about it in Cape Town, you talk about it in New York and London, everyone goes, yeah, that's crazy. Why did we ever say, you know, we're going to murder people to try and help the crops next year or something
exactly,
like that.
Yeah.
It's just a bizarre idea.
That kind of stuff went on. I mean,
it did. Organised, and the Vikings were doing it, and the South Americans were doing it, and no one was phoning each other and saying, how are you doing? Have you murdered lots of people? How's your crops coming along?
It still goes on in Bromley, apparently.
Bromley, well...
On a smaller scale.
I think you're going to have to answer the people of Bromley because I think that it's all pretty cool.
It's all pretty cool. And in terms of, I mean, you're a stand-up, you're an actor, but the politics, this is the bit, when people talk about the kind of male-female thing, man-woman thing, I'm not really interested in that. I'm really interested in whether you're a politician or a comedian, or are you both?
Well, I think we're all politicians, if you think about it.
That's true.
You know, we all take our positions there, but I do want to be a Labour MP. I tried up in Sheffield, came second in the selection. Abiy Mohammed got in, so good luck to her. She was born in Yemen, I was born in Yemen, so we had first and second.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Fascinating, eh? Very 21st
Chances
century
of
Sheffield. The people of Sheffield were great, the activists were great. We have to take sides, but we're all on the same side anyway.
But why would you want to be?
I'm going to keep trying until I get in.
But why would you want to be a Labourer? We've got such a good, solid government at the moment. They're doing such a cracking job. I mean, our last caller was a great call. He just said to us, you know, he joined the Conservative Party in 2019 because he wanted Boris. He wanted Boris. He thought Boris was the man. He supported Brexit. It's democracy. That's fine. And a year and a half later, he resigned he left the Conservative Party because of Boris. And that's how quick things can turn
Boris
around.
Johnson has decided to lie more than anyone, just shy of Donald Trump. I think the Tweedledee of pants on fire politics is going on there. And
it's his truth, though, Eddie. It's his truth.
Well, this is the thing. I like the fact that he's lied all the way up to now, and then there was that whole big session yesterday. And, you know, no one's going to believe that any of that is the truth. I mean, if anything came out that was the truth from Boris Johnson, then you go, oh, that's interesting. That's a bit of truth. But we're so used to him lying that, you know, surely that's just another bunch of lies.
Does that mean you would go back to, you're clearly enamoured and very passionate about politics. How would you ever do that, though? I mean, how could
do what, sorry?
become a politician if without almost relinquishing?
Oh, you have to. Like, Glenda Jackson's already done it.
Yeah, she's gone back, of course.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger as well.
Yeah,
in different countries. But so it is possible. I thought, do I want to go through an entire life and not put what I think are certain skills, communication. I think I can communicate, a vision of the world. I think everyone has in the world has the right to a fair chance in life, not a free life, but a fair chance in life. Surely that's what we're all fighting for. I mean, I don't know if people in the Tory Party are fighting for that, but surely that's what we in the Labour Party are fighting for. So I want to fight for that, and I can analyse systems and say, well, let's keep half of that, but that needs all changing. That's what you've got to be able to do. Those three things in politics: have a vision, communicate, and analyse systems.
There's been debates over the years about sort of left-wing, right-wing comedy, and I know quite a lot of stand-ups as mates and stuff, and you know far more. There is a kind of a propensity to be from the left in that world, and I'm kind of intrigued because I once heard somebody make not an unreasonable point that actually in the world of creativity, if you like, just out in the arts altogether, it is in some respects very much a conservative existence. You're responsible for your own well-being. You have to sort your own taxes out.
No,
you have
that's
to think
not
of your own.
That's just being a citizen.
What's the sort of vague Adam Smithness about it?
No, I think that's just being a citizen. But comedy is a good weapon to puncture pomposity. It takes things down. It's not a great weapon for building in politics. A comedy has to be used as the light relief at the end of the paragraph. You need to say, these are my positive ideas on life, and the other team, well, let me tell you the comedy about the other team. That's how it kind of works. It's not the actual comedy tool that I have developed does not really work, but it can get pretty dry in politics, so occasional light relief of pointing out things is, I think, what...
But it is more left than right? Okay.
What stand-up comedy?
So
because it is creative. The right-wing comedians tend to be sexist and racist comedians who we thought would have gone away, but are still there, and there's still some circuit to that. There's some people who are still... don't like people of different races.
There's bound to be some kind of really good comics who just happen to vote Conservative.
Yes, probably. Do you have a list? I'm not sure.
Well, do you know what I was watching the other day? George Carling, who I love, George Carling, and is obviously no longer with us. Yeah, and I was just looking back at some of his stuff, and I just couldn't work out whether he was a left-winger or a right-winger. He was a kind of very anti-establishment, sort of Bill Hicksy kind of character, in the sense of exposing the system and governments, and it does go a little bit conspiratorial at times. But when I was watching, I thought, is he kind of Team Trump or is he Team something else? Or would he have been Team Trump? It was hard to tell.
No, I don't think so. He could have been libertarian, maybe. But
I think he was probably supremely libertarian.
Yeah, but I think... that libertarian does flip over because you're just saying, it says...
Well, it kind of meets,
if you want to take drugs, if you want to experiment, if you want to live your own life, then do that. I could see that happening. But I've always thought George Carlin to be more... near left, far left, near left or further left, somewhere in that area.
That's what I always thought. Yeah. And then I just stumbled across a routine where it kind of...
Was it very early routine or very late?
I can't remember what it was now, but it just sort of slightly... I thought, I got to say...
He might have been devil's advocate.
He could have been.
Which is allowed.
It is allowed. Yeah. You are allowed to. You're at the Garrick Theatre, of course. It doesn't get any more thesb than the Garrick Theatre.
Well, that's interesting. This word thesbian, which is often used as a negative term. Yeah.
I wasn't using it as a pejorative.
No, I understand that because you love theatre, yeah?
Absolutely.
Which I'm just saying. We
were just talking about.
You have been to many, many theatre shows. Well, this is kind of beautiful. I'm doing Great Expectations, a one-person, one-woman show, one trans woman show, playing 19 characters. Kind of as trans, it's kind of perfect, playing Estella and Miss Havisham and Pip and Magwitch.
That's true, yeah.
And trying to really, I use a technique that comes from Richard Pryor, actually, his stand-up. He would have characters going, hey, you want to do this? I don't know. Is this a good idea? And he would slightly turn, did a sort of, not the microphone there, quarter turn. And I thought, that technique in stand-up, when I started stand-up, I said, I'm going to do that because I used to do sketch comedy, playing separate characters. Not many stand-ups actually do that, it seems, but I've done up to 4 characters on stage, and now in the opening scene of Great Expectations, I have, I think, 5 or 6, maybe even 7 characters. But I developed it. I did an audio book of Great Expectations. I'm severely dyslexic, so atypically dyslexic, so I'm like a high-functioning dyslexic person. But writing was bad. My reading of things is really tricky, and I spell phonetically with cat with a K, ceiling with an S. I Spy Games went on forever, and so I decided to do an audiobook to push back on that and to read my first work of great work of literature.
Sure.
And I am also 150 years to the day younger than Dickens.
Yeah, I was just reading
which is kind of crazy. 7th of February 1812, 7th of February 1962. Doesn't mean anything, but I decided to run with it and say, well, Charlie Dickens is kind of the European dream kind of kid who said, I want to start off, I want to go. It putting it in parallel to the American dream, he started off and he was working in a blacking factory when he was a kid, and suffered. His dad was in debtor's prison, and then he worked his way up to become Charles Dickens with a few marital problems and
quite a lot of that along the way. Because people often say, and I never know what the full truth is about Dickens. People say about Shakespeare, he was a punk of his day, etc. And Dickens he wasn't quite in that territory, but he was certainly he knew how to be a bit tabloid. He wrote for newspapers as well, didn't he?
Yes, he wrote. He was court reported. He reported from politicians as well, from Parliament. But he started writing these. I think he would write like an average person in the street. He talked about characters like that. And Pickwick started off, and Pickwick was going well, and then not so well. Then he wrote the character that went to Sam. I can't remember Sam's last name, but his assistant, his helper, his personal man, and then it sort of took off from that. Sketches by Boz, and then he sort of caught the vein of the people, I think, and wrote along. And Great Expectations is one of his masterworks. And the story of Pip, channeling along, playing these characters, Pip and Estella, playing a drop-dead gorgeous young girl, as me, as having been born a boy but growing up feeling like I'd quite like to have been a girl. That's an interesting place to go there. And then playing Havisham, Havisham, whose life has been devastated by being jilted at the altar. It's a wonderful thing to do. I took it to America.
I was about to say, you've done this in the States.
I went to New York, and they gave us rave reviews. Just prepared to be transfixed, performance of the year. It's kind of.
How long did it take somebody to say that first?
I don't know. It's just they're the kind of reviews you kind of wait your entire life to get to. And I've been doing drama for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
People still saying, "Oh, you just do comedy," but no, it's like 25 years of drama. So to finally get this and then bring it back to London, at the Garrick Theatre in May, is a beautiful thing.
I mean, the obvious questions here, they all write themselves, really. How difficult is it? Is it easy to forget a line? Can you forget who you are in those 19 characters?
I don't forget who I am, but I have no safety net. No one is on the book. It's 15,000 words, and I'm just out there living it. And if I ever come off the rails, I have to walk myself back onto the rails.
And is it serious? Is it a serious?
It is. It's a drama. It's Great Expectations.
Because it's quite hard, isn't it, when I suppose because people know you through your comedy and you're doing different characters. But are there moments where people laugh at the wrong place?
No, I think sometimes at the beginning in New York, some people were laughing a little bit more than they might have thought I was doing a comedy version. But I was in Stephen Frears's Victoria and Abdul with Judi Dench. I've been in a lot of dramas down the years. So if anyone's seen that, they know where I've been driving for, because I wanted to be an actor before I wanted to be a comedian. So Pip does have to say to Estella, "I love you," and you have to draw the audience along with you emotionally on this journey, which gets very tough towards the end. So
it starts in May, is that right?
Starts in May, 24th of May.
Garrick Theatre, 24th of May. Great Expectations. It already sounds stunning.
EddieIzzard.com for tickets.
Fantastic. Great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is talkTV.